Hey there folks, Troy Gretsch from IntoDrums.com here with a very different lesson for you. Now as you can see, my drums are not in the room, they're not set up. And that's because on Tuesday night of this week I had Mr. Stan Bicknell here doing a masterclass for my website. If you haven't checked that out, go to my website and check it out. It's really cool. Stan's a beast of a player. But because we had his kit in here, I had to take mine out, obviously. Now I wanted to take this opportunity to show you guys how I go about setting up my kit. And the main reason for this is because most of my students that I teach are fairly young, and I teach them from a young age to a much older age. And in that time, they grow tremendously. However, most of those students tend to neglect the fact that they have grown and they should adjust their kit again. I mean, let's be honest here. How long has it been since you changed your setup? Has it been over a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Now, if that's the case, you might find that by redoing your setup and just breaking it down and setting it back up and readjusting stuff, you might find that it's going to fix a few issues that you're having. Maybe you're having joint pain or leg pain or lower back pain. This is a great way of making sure that the fundamentals are covered. And you may find that your playing as a whole will improve because you've made these adjustments and given yourself the best opportunity to be comfortable on the drums. And besides, it's a great excuse to get to know your drums a little bit better. But enough about all that, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is our bass drum. Now, what I've done is I've just placed the bass drum. It's still got my tom mount on there, so that's no big deal. That's just a fixed object. It's all, my tom mount stays the same no matter what, and I'm just going to leave that. Now, I like to have the bass drum head slightly angled towards me, just because I feel it gives me a better bass drum response. But depending on your kit and your feel, that's totally up to you. You can have it where you want. But mine is slightly angled back towards me a little bit. First thing I want to do is I want to place my foot halfway down the bass drum pedal. And the reason for that is because if I've got my foot all the way up the top of the bass drum pedal, and that's the floor, all right? If I have my foot all the way up, I've got about that much space to push down before that beater hits. And if I have my foot about halfway down, it's about half the distance, which means that, yes, it's gonna be a little bit harder to push down initially, but the distance traveled is a lot less, so my bass drum is gonna be a lot more responsive, and it really helps with speed development and stuff like that. So my foot is placed halfway down the pedal, and I want the back of my heel and the front of my knee to almost be in line. You don't want it to be too far ahead or behind. You want it to be fairly in line. And the reason for this is because too far forward and you lose all power, and too far back and you won't even be able to move your foot at all. So it's kind of like an optimal point to get the best movement out of your leg. And it's really gonna help with your balance. Now, as you can see, I've got a double pedal in front of me, so I wanna make sure that my feet are the same on both pedals. Please also note, I'm not facing towards the bass drum. I'm gonna be facing out towards where the crash would go, kind of halfway between the hi-hat and the bass drum, because that will create a nice V in your legs and make sure that you're not twisting and putting any unnecessary strain on your joints or lower back. Another important aspect to keep in mind is your stool height. Now, everyone's different, and over the years, I've gone from playing very low to playing very high. I am quite tall, I'm 6'3". So what I like to do as a general rule is I wanna make sure that my legs, my thighs, are not dipping down flat. I want them just above flat or just on a slight angle forward. Now, as you can see, my legs are on a fair bit of an angle. I have my stool all the way up, just because that's where I like it. Lately, I feel like it puts a lot less strain on my lower back, and I can play for longer periods of time without feeling that muscle strain. Great, so now that the bass drum's set up, I'm gonna grab our next part of the drum kit. All right, fantastic. So our next part of the drums that we're going to be setting up is our hi-hat. So the hi-hat pedal is a little bit different. You want to have your foot all the way up the top of the pedal, as far as it can go. Again, front of your knee, back of your heel is ideal, and that's where you want to get comfortable. I know that this can be a little bit awkward for some people, especially when it's their first time messing with this kind of stuff. But trust me when I say, if you get used to that front of your knee, back your heel kind of alignment, it may feel that you're quite far away from the kit initially, but everything is going to get better once you get comfortable with it. Now your hi-hat. This is something I get asked all the time by my students, so I just wanted to include this in the setup, is how do you set up your hi-hats? So this, firstly, you've got a bottom cymbal, which is usually thicker. These are Zildjian New Beats. New Beats, and these are 14-inch hats. So you put the thicker one, which says bottom on the bottom. I know that some drummers like to put the bottom on the top for various reasons. I just like to have them the way they are supposed to sound, I guess. They have the intended setup. So if you've got a decent hi-hat clutch, this is a DW double bass drum clutch. It's pretty good. I really like it. But there's a flat part. So there's a thread, there's a flat section, and then there's another thread. On the top part of the thread, you've got these two washers, these two metal washers, and the idea with those is one is supposed to be against the other, and the main purpose of that is so you can twist them lightly together and they won't move, so that secures the top. Next, you want to have a felt, and all the felt is going to do is it's going to stop metal from touching metal. Now, one of the things one of my teachers used to do is on that metal part in the middle, if there's no flat part, or even so, it's up to you if you want to do this. I haven't had any problems, so I don't really mind. But what he would do is put a thin layer of tape around the middle, so then it just eliminates any metal on metal touching. Totally up to you if you want to do that. If you do have a hi-hat clutch that is all threaded, I would strongly recommend that. So anyway, you've got the washers, felt, your cymbal slides on, then you have another felt, put the felt on the bottom, and then you have your end, and you just screw that on. And you want to screw that all the way. Now, most higher end clutches will have a little fitting on the end where if you tighten it, it's going to lock that bottom on, and all that's going to do is stop it from unraveling while you're playing. Then you want to adjust the top. So your hi-hat, well, for me, my hi-hats can move around a little bit freely. I never like to have my cymbals clamped down, because that's when you can cause damage and you actually lose a lot of the tone from the cymbals. Then your cymbal will just sit on top, and if you've got a double pedal clutch like me, your second part will go on, and then you can just adjust accordingly. Now, one thing I would like to try and get you to keep in mind is the distance in your hi-hat. I see a lot of guys playing with very little distance between their hi-hat, and I really feel it's going to limit what you can do with the hats, because by having a little bit more space now, that's probably open, looks like one finger space, but if I pull up the hi-hat, I've actually got 2 finger spaces between there. And what that allows me to do is stuff like splashing and just have a little bit more articulation and control in my left foot, which for me makes a massive difference on your playing. So please don't keep it very short, the distance between your hi-hats. At least you want them to be separate. All right, so let's keep going with our setup. Okay, so the next drum that we have for our setup is our snare drum. Now, your snare drum height should be at a height where the rim is around your waist height, and you want to be able to play a rim shot on the snare without hitting your leg. Now, as you can see, I have a fairly unorthodox way of angling my snare. I angle it away from me. This is probably one of the most common questions I'm asked by people is, wow, what's with that weird snare drum angle? And if I had $1 for every time a sound guy said, hey, I'll just wait for you to fix your snare before I put a mic on it. And I'm like, oh, no, that's how it is. But anyway, the main reason I have it at this angle for me is I find that being taller, it's actually a lot more relaxed for me to play at this angle. And it might change over the years. Maybe it'll come back to flat. When I first started playing drums, my snare drum was angled quite severely towards me. And over the years, it sort of flattened out until it was dead flat. And then it just slowly started going forward. And yeah, people think it's weird, but it feels good for me. And it's up to you where you have your snare drum. As long as you can, like I said, play rim shots without hitting your leg and being obstructed by anything else, and then what's the problem? As long as you're getting the desired result and you're not in an awkward position, if it works for you, it works for you. Again, I'm not telling you to angle your snare drum away from you, but just set it up however you feel comfortable. All right, so now let's add the toms. Okay, so now I've added the toms, and what I've done is basically have them in a position where I can touch, from where I'm sitting up straight, I can touch the center of each of the drums. It's really important to be able to reach the center of each of the drums. So like even there, the snare drum, I might bring a little bit closer to me. That's better. Yep, cool. And as you can see as well, my floor tom I have angled slightly away from me, sort of at this same angle or a similar angle to the snare. And that is again just because of my height. I like to have that sort of angle. It just feels a little bit more comfortable. In terms of the angle for the mounted toms, I have them mounted slightly towards me. Over the years, it's gone from being really on an angle towards me to being rather flat, and now it's sort of morphed. Again, this has a lot to do with just how you're feeling at the time and where it feels natural for you. I like to try and base my tom height off the second tom. So I try and get the second tom as close to the bass drum as I can, maybe a finger distance away from the bass drum, and then I match the shallower 10-inch onto that, because I like the toms to be rather low. And the reason for that is because I feel that when the toms are lower, it's less of a jump to jump up from the snare or to the floor tom, and it just feels a little bit more natural and a little bit easier to get around the kit because everything is within a short distance. All right, time for cymbals. Okay, so let me talk you through my cymbal arrangement. Now, first one I'm going to start with is my crash. Now, on my crash, I've got a little splash as well. So what I want to do is I want to be able to reach the bell of the cymbal from where I'm sitting, and that should be the same for all of my cymbals. That'll ensure that when you're going for something, it's not too far out of reach and you're not overextending, and you can just make sure that you're going to be able to play everything as relaxed and efficient as possible. So with my crash, I have it right in front of me, in between, like I'm actually facing out towards my crash. It's in the center of my hi-hat and my bass drum. And then on it, I've got a little splash cymbal. Then I've got another splash over to my right in between the two toms. I've got my ride cymbal in a position where I can play the ride, the center of the ride. So right between the bell and the edge of the cymbal. I like to be able to play the center of the ride with my arm hanging down, nice and relaxed from this position. It just makes it a lot easier and more comfortable to play. And then if I want to play the bell, I just lift up to play the bell. And that to me is ideal. Then I have my other cymbals over here. I've got my China and my crash. As you'll notice, my crashes and China are angled away from me, which is typically a no-no whenever you're talking to anyone about cymbals, because what can happen is that you'll play the cymbal incorrectly and break it. Now, the reason I feel it's okay for me to have these cymbals like that is because my cymbals are very low, which means that I can still play these cymbals in the correct manner, which is a slicing action through the cymbal, okay? Never straight onto the edges, and that way I'm not gonna break them. If these cymbals were up here and I had them angled away from me, no, you're gonna break them. You're gonna hit the cymbal on the side of the cymbal, and for starters, you can break the edge, and you can also do some damage on the inside of the cymbal, which is not cool. You don't want to be breaking your cymbals. So for me, even though I have them facing slightly away from me, it's because I've got them low and I can play them at the right angle, and I feel like because I'm sitting higher, it is, from where I am, perspective I'm at, it is giving me the best opportunity to play the cymbal correctly. The only reason I don't have my splash cymbal angled away from me is because I actually can't get this clamp to articulate that way. Otherwise I would. It would be facing the opposite way slightly, but as it stands, it's actually pretty good and I'm pretty comfortable where it is. And for obvious reasons, my ride, I want to be able to play the top end of the cymbal more so that way it wouldn't make sense to have it facing the other way, because then I would be crashing it as opposed to riding it. Now, just a recap on some things. Remember, to me, the most important part of your setup is your balance, where you're sitting on the stool and your feet. So having your feet in the correct position, your back of your heel, front of your knees, super important. Your seat height, you don't want to be too low because you're going to put too much pressure on your lower back. Remember, the plan is to be sitting at the kit for a long period of time. And then just having most things in reach will make it much easier and a more efficient setup for you. And make sure that you can play a rim shot on the snare drum without touching your lead. So again, if it's been a long time since you've taken your kit apart and reassessed where it's going to go, take the opportunity to experiment. You'll be surprised how much your setup is going to impact your playing, especially if you haven't adjusted it since you were a young teenager to a young adult. Your body has gone through so many different transformations during that time that you are definitely going to find that your back, your heels in front of your knee thing is not going to be working. That's not where it is. And you're going to make those adjustments. It's going to feel really awkward at first, but give it a few days of playing like that and try not to revert back. And I guarantee you it'll feel much better. And that way you're going to give yourself the best opportunity to be comfortable on the kit. So thank you very much, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. And if you're not already a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell to be notified of future lessons. And if you're after a little bit more serious drum lessons, please check out my website, www.intodrums.com. There I offer pre-recorded and live lessons with unlimited feedback. Learning from YouTube is awesome, but no one's going to be telling you if you're doing it right or wrong, or those little things that you could change in your playing that are going to take you to that next level much quicker. Plus, you also get unlimited video feedback from myself. So if you are interested, please go to the website for more details. All right, folks, enjoy your week. I'll be back next week with another free lesson, and I might even start doing the occasional live lesson to YouTube. So keep your eyes open for that. On that note, I'm going to leave you. Have a fantastic week, and as always, happy practicing.